Welcome back to Capitol Review. I'm Mark Hall. January 6th is a day that will go down in American history as one of the darkest days, and recently there were peaceful protests from those who were actually tried and convicted for their involvement and eventually pardoned by President Donald Trump. Joining us now is Sarakshi Rai, reporter with our media partners at The Hill. Sarakshi, welcome back to Capitol Review.
Thank you for having me. Great to be here.
We're always glad to have you. It's been 5 years since the attack on the U.S. Capitol. What are people saying?
That's right, Mark. You know, it's very divided still along political parties and along political lines. We have, the House Democrats really making it and highlighting the experiences of lawmakers that day when they had those mob of people really break into the Capitol where they were fearing for their lives and running from this mob. We even had the Vice President Mike Pence, then Vice President Mike Pence, who was in the building, and the mob was chanting, hang Mike Pence. So, that's what the Democrats are focused on, keeping it mainly, focused on the fact that there was this mob that took over the Capitol. And then you have the Republicans, on the other hand. The president has pardoned most of those who were convicted for the role they played in January 6th. Thousands of his supporters have had their sentences commuted, and they've been pardoned by the president. And, Enrique Tarrio, who's the former Proud Boys leader, held his own rally, and they marched from down the same street in a very peaceful procedure to kind of, they said in memory of Ashley Babbitt, the woman who was killed while illegally trying to enter the U.S. Capitol. So two very different memorials going on there at this 5-year anniversary mark.
How do you think January 6th will be remembered historically?
Well, historically, I think that it will still be divided along how people vote. You'll have people who vote Democrat, really truly believe that it was one of the most horrible days in U.S. political history when, they were just trying to, when Congress was just trying to peacefully, certify President Biden, then President Biden's election victory. And then you have the Republicans and the president who truly believed that the 2020 election was stolen from him. And his supporters still believe that, and they're deeply upset at what happened. A lot of the January 6th protesters who were arrested really still think of some deep state conspiracy that led to their arrest and then their pardon. So very different ways I think that the country will remember January 6th, Mark.
Switching gears, Sarakshi, Congress has a lot to address, including the ACA subsidies. Seems like there's common ground in the House, but the Senate Republicans, not so much. Is this going to be the issue that could have an impact on a potential government shutdown?
That's right, Mark. We're looking at a potential government shutdown now for the end of this month. And essentially, this House-passed, extension is a 3-year extension to the Enhanced Affordable Care Act subsidies that was originally passed, in response to COVID-19. Now, this House bill that passed heads to the Senate. Now, Majority Leader in the Senate, John Thune, has said that he's going to ignore the House bill that was just passed, and he's going to ignore it completely. But lawmakers in the House still think that this could really light a fire and pressure the bipartisan Senate working group to come to a bipartisan deal over these ACA credits. Negotiators from both parties have really revived these compromise talks because, the Republicans do realize that this could be the issue that heads the country into another government shutdown, Mark.
Sarakshi Rai, thank you so very much for joining us.